Everybody says charge your worth, but let's be real. Most people don't believe that they're worth what they want to charge. And look, I've made over 7 figures online in my business, and my very first digital product did a little over 900K. I've sold the same exact product that I've sold for $50 for $5,000. And I didn't make more money because my product changed. I made more money because my positioning did. So the same exact product that I sold for $50, I sold for $5,000 and people thanked me for it. The difference wasn't the product, it was how I packaged, positioned, and presented it. So in this video, I'm gonna just show you how you can multiply your prices without changing your product. Look, when I first started, I priced based off of fear instead of value. And fear is a big thing, and fear is controlling most entrepreneurs out there because fear can stand for two things. FEAR. Fear can stand for fuck everything and run, or face everything and rise. But the great thing is that you have the opportunity to choose what you want it to mean for you. So even outside of pricing, people are just out here making decisions on a day-to-day basis solely based off of fear. And instead of facing that fear and rising to the occasion, they typically crumble and succumb to that fear. And it's only gonna take me about 5 minutes to break this down. So if you don't have 5 minutes to spare, then you'll probably just keep on not charging what you're worth because you are afraid that nobody will pay the prices that you set for yourself. And if you wanna stay in a race to the bottom, like most people out here, then feel free to click off of this video and go watch something else about how you can make a whole bunch of money by selling stuff for $2 or something like that, and just have a great time in that race to the bottom. And typically when you're in a race to the bottom, you end up winning. But I know the feeling. I was scared that people wouldn't buy. I was scared of people saying, oh, you're too expensive. I was scared of charging my actual worth. So I initially started to price any product that I came up with super low because my thought process was, if I price it super cheap, then a whole bunch more people will buy. But who are those people that'll buy? Do you actually want those people to be your customer base? Because this is what happens a lot of times, not all of the time, but this is something that happens quite often. When people pay $5 for something, they treat it like it's worth $5. Many times, low prices attract low commitment. And with that low commitment, for one, there's a good chance that you're gonna get high complaints. And then two, there's also a great chance that you're not going to get the transformation in those people that you could showcase and market as results that your product actually works. Because a lot of times, people that don't pay attention. And I hate that it has to be like that, but it's so true. And I can just use YouTube as an example. Think of all the free content that people get on a daily basis. There's people that just devour hours upon hours upon hours of free YouTube content on a daily basis. But majority of those people don't ever do anything with all that information that they're getting for free. Why is that? Because it didn't cost them anything. And since that information didn't cost them anything, they're not actually moved and feel like they have to make a commitment to act on any of the information. Kind of goes hand in hand. I have a community right now, and actually my best friend, I gave him access for free. He called me about a month or two ago talking about, all right, man, I'm ready to get this online business started, man. And I'm serious this time because he's been telling me this stuff for years. But now he just bought a big old house in LA and all this stuff. And he's like, okay, I just bought this big house. I got bigger bills. Look, I'm really ready to get this. This is how much money. If I can just make this much money, like at minimum, I'm cool, bro. And I'll listen to everything that you say, step by step. I'm gonna listen this time. And I told him, I was like, bro, you're in my community for free, and everything that I'm gonna tell you is right there for free. So consume the information. If you need any help with anything along the way, then reach out. Ask me, we can figure it out. I ain't heard from him about the subject since he first told me about it a couple months ago. Meanwhile, I have other people in my community getting results. Well, why is he not getting any results? Because for one, he didn't pay for the information, therefore, it doesn't seem that valuable to him. And he has access to it for free. And on top of that, he has access to me for free because he's one of my closest personal friends. I'm the godfather to his kids. My phone is on Do Not Disturb. My phone has been on Do Not Disturb since 2023. And I have a small list of people that I put on my favorites to whereas if they call me, my phone happens to ring. He's one of the few people that when he calls, my phone rings. He has complete access to me. But the primary reason why he hasn't acted on any of the information is because it didn't cost him anything. It doesn't seem valuable to him. But pricing isn't just about money, it's a mirror to your belief. And you'll never out-earn your self-worth. But here's a game changer that a lot of people don't realize, and this is something that changed everything for me. It's when I realized that value isn't what you do, it's what they feel. People don't pay for something, they pay for what it means to them. So I'll use this coconut that I have in my hand as an example because I know your mind's been running like, why does he have this coconut in his hand? Well, outside of it just being super delicious, like coconut water fresh out of a coconut is one of the top tier things in life. But if I use this coconut water that I'm drinking as an example, I could get this for cheaper. I could go and get this in a bottle and I could get a lot more water per bottle than what this little bitty coconut cost me, and I could still get the same coconut water. But why did I pay for these little itty bitty coconuts that have a bamboo straw that you can just stick into the coconut instead of just going out and buying some bottles of coconut water? Well, it's because of what I feel about the product. So think about this. Me, outside of me liking the taste of like really cold, fresh coconut water, I get it for the health benefits. So for one, I want to stay hydrated and I like to eat my water. And one of the best ways to stay hydrated is by eating fruits, right? Because even though they say our body is however so many percent water, it's not actually water. Because if it was water, then if you were in the hospital, say you were dehydrated or something, they would just give you an IV of water, but they don't. They give you an IV of like this sugar type water. And the closest thing to that is fruits, right? So even though I'm a person that likes to do some healthy things within my life, one of the reasons is that I want to be properly hydrated, has electrolytes, potassium, all this type of stuff, the benefits of it, but I want to go as close to the source as possible. So instead of getting some processed coconut water that's clear, when I learned that if it's real coconut water, after it's been exposed to air for a certain period of time, it turns pink. And most of the stuff that you get from a bottle is clear. So if you ever buy coconut water and you're buying some stuff that's supposedly supposed to be fresh and real and all this type of stuff, and it's not pink, that stuff fugazi, it's fukaka, it's fake. It's stepped on, right? That ain't that pure. That ain't that pure from Medellin, right? But I want it as close to the source as possible because it makes me feel like I'm being a little bit healthier, even if I'm not. I could probably get the same results from just buying some stuff out of a bottle or something. But this makes me feel different, and I think it tastes better. But again, that could just be my brain telling me that it tastes better because I see myself drinking it directly from a coconut. So when I was selling that $50 digital product that I told you about, the way that I was positioning it was that it was information. But when I sold that same exact product for $5,000, the way that I positioned it was transformation. Same content, different positioning. So let me break it down for you like this. If I hand you a rock, you'll probably throw it away. But if I tell you that that rock came from the top of Mount Everest, you're probably keep it and cherish it. Or even better yet, if I told you that that rock came from a meteor, you probably keep it and cherish it. That rock will be the coolest thing ever, but it's a rock. Now that's positioning. Now, it's not about lying. It's about framing the truth correctly. Your product needs to be packaged in a way that says, this is valuable, this is rare, this solves a specific painful problem for a specific person. And that's when people start paying attention. So I'll tell you, this $50 offer that I had, it was an ebook packaged with some video modules, and I presented it as a course, right? But once I positioned it as a program, I could then sell the same exact stuff. I didn't even change anything. I sold the same exact stuff for $5,000. And the only thing that I added to it was that you got 4 calls with me, and they were typically in a group setting. So I would sit down once per week, answer the group's calls for somewhere around an hour. That was the only thing that I added to it that raised the value of something from $50 to $5,000. But the questions that I was answering was just the questions from the stuff that I had already created. So I'm basically talking about the same stuff that was already in the ebook and the videos, but I might be able to answer a specific question that somebody has about something that they're currently going through, which I then later turned into a digital product because people had access to the coaching calls that I had, that I could then say in my marketing, hey, you can have access to these coaching calls that other people paid $5,000 for. I could then later sell that as like an order bump or some type of upsell if I wanted to. You can always repackage and repurpose something that you've already created in the past, just like a coconut. They can make a nice little hole that's able to poke a straw in here. They can charge one price for it. They can dump this out, pour it in a bottle. They can charge another price for it. They can dump this out, pour it in a can. They can charge another price for it. Then they can sell the meat of the coconut. They can sell dried coconut. They can do little shavings off of this and sprinkle it on top of German chocolate cakes. They can sell this coconut so many different ways. But at the end of the day, it's a coconut. Now, when I tell people that I raised my prices a lot on an offer that I had, and then I tell them that I had just added some coaching calls for myself in that, they think, okay, well, I need to add a whole bunch of stuff to mine. But it's not always about adding more stuff. You raise your prices by solving bigger problems. So for instance, during that window, when I raised my price on the offer that I already had, I changed the problem that I was presenting to the marketplace that I was solving. Because at the time, this particular product, it was helping people to grow and monetize their social media, right? This is something that I did a few years back. Well, once I changed the positioning of it to help burnt out service providers make money off of their own intellectual property, that was a bigger problem to solve than somebody that was just trying to make an extra $100 or $200, $500 here or there, right? These people were already making money and they were burnt out doing what they were doing, and they knew that the only way that they could make more money is to go out and hire a bunch of people, which means that their margins would already go down, and then they will probably still be burnt out because they don't know how to manage people. Well, to them, it was enticing to learn a model to where they could make more than the services that they're breaking their back over each and every single day, off of just sitting there and thinking and creating offers and putting them online in the marketplace. Same framework, bigger problem. So if you want to raise your prices, you don't need to rebuild your offer. You need to reframe the problem that it solves. So let me make this real simple. People, they pay for perception. So I'll give you an example of what I mean by this. There's this guy that I know. He owns an Audi, I believe it's an Audi R8 something. I'm not a car guy, so I don't really know the models of the cars like that, but I believe it's like an Audi R8. And he was sitting down and he was explaining to me that his car is the Lamborghini Urus, or Urus, however you're supposed to say it. What a lot of people call the Lamborghini truck, right? Or the Lamborghini SUV. He was saying that his Audi is that same car. They use the same engines, same parts, everything. So he was like, he's basically driving a Lamborghini for a much cheaper price. And he said that it's well known to people that know about cars that the Lamborghini truck is basically the Audi model. All that it has is different branding. But people are willing to pay more for the Lamborghini simply from the perception that other people have about the Lamborghini. But he was somebody who was like, hey, I don't need to be driving around and have everybody being like, oh, who's that in the Lamborghini? He just liked the car, so he bought the Audi. But he was like, the only reason that they pay for that Lamborghini is simply because of the perception of it. And because of the perception of that car and the branding of that car, they feel better about themselves. So when you're out here looking like every other $5 creator, sit your $5 ass down before I make change. Hey, I don't know why that line came to my mind when I said $5. If you know what line that movie's from, me and you cool. But when you're out here looking like every other $5 creator, then you're gonna have a hard time trying to convince people. But when you package with authority, and that's a clear transformation, when you're confident, when you have proof, people assume your value before you even open your mouth. So even just think about Apple. I'm an Apple customer. From what everybody tells me, Apple doesn't even make the best phones. They said they don't even make any of the best products. But think of Apple and a Samsung phone. They both do the same things. You can talk on the phone, you can text, they take pictures, they have all your apps, so you can get on the internet, social media, and everybody also says that the Samsung cameras are like way better than the Apple cameras. But Apple's phones cost way more, and the people that buy Apple, like myself, seem to not care that it's not the best phone, even though everybody lets us know that technically they're not the best phones because Samsungs can do this, this, and that, or the Galaxy can do this, this, and that, and this phone has this many pixels and blah, 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 and the technology is blah, 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 blah. Apple users don't care. Why is that? Because Apple sells a feeling, whereas Samsung and Galaxies and all those other phones, they sell the features. And that's where most entrepreneurs are really struggling at also. They're always trying to sell the features of something instead of selling the feeling of the transformation that somebody's gonna receive from your product. Apple doesn't sell features, they sell feelings. They sell the feeling of this is what owning this Apple product says about me. Whether Apple users want to believe it or not, deep down, pretty much all of them, including myself, feel like you get a little level of cool just by having an Apple product. It's to the point where Apple users kind of like scoff, like, whenever they get a text message that's green instead of blue. They have a green, they texted me and it's a green bubble. How dare they? I added them to the group chat and they're the one green bubble in all this sea of blue. I am offended in your communication. That right there is how you win in the digital world. You don't sell PDFs, you don't sell ebooks, you don't sell courses, you don't sell communities and memberships. You sell identity upgrades. And once you realize this about yourself and you reposition yourself like this, watch the type of people that you start to attract. Because when you change your energy, you change your audience. You start to attract people that are not only curious, but they're committed. And a lot of people are scared to raise their price, but raising your price, it doesn't repel people, it reveals who's serious. And on the flip side of that, it forces you to level up and show up as a professional, not somebody that's just crossing their fingers and hoping to get some sales. Now here's the formula that I wish I knew on day one. Let me get the last bit of this up. So first, you need to define your transformation. Not what it is, but what it does. Remember, focus on the payoff. Too many people are talking about and focused on the pieces instead of the payoff. Too many people are trying to sell the trip instead of the vacation. So define your transformation clearly. And this is what your offer does, not what it is. Then rebuild your packaging. And remember, these are only things that you need to do if you want to increase your prices, right? If you don't want to increase your prices, then don't worry about any of this stuff. But if you do want to increase your prices, do these 5 things. So, second thing, rebuild your packaging. Not packages. Oops. Not packages, packaging. So this may be your visuals, this may be your testimonials, this may be your landing page. And the delivery of your packaging, it must reflect your new price point. And then the third thing is to narrow your market. The smaller and more specific your audience, the more you can charge. So if I use myself as an example, from when I used to have that $50 offer some years ago, and then I started charging $5,000 for the same exact offer. Well, I started to narrow it down to service-based business owners, right? That's the reason why I was able to charge $5,000 for it. And then the fourth thing that you want to do is add proof. proof sales. So this can be screenshots, this can be testimonials, whether they be screenshotted testimonials or video testimonials. These can be direct messages or emails that you receive to people talking about how they got good results from whatever it is that you offer. These can be your own results, right? That's something that a lot of people sleep on. If you're not in a position to whereas you don't have testimonials of how you've helped other people yet, because you're good at what you do and you will get those over time, then you have to be your own testimony. And I get it. A lot of people don't like talking about themselves. As crazy as it may sound, I don't like to talk about the things that I've done. I don't like to talk about myself. But I know, especially starting out, I have to talk about some of the things that I know how to do. And I have to show some proof that I've done the things that I say that I know how to do, so other people will listen. And then once I get some testimonials from some other people, then I may not have to talk about myself as much, and I can talk about how I've helped some other people. But that's still talking about me, because I have to talk about how I helped other people, when I really don't like to talk about myself, but I need somebody to listen. And why would anybody listen to me outside of me showing them that I got some proof that what I say actually works? And then the fifth thing, which is the most important, is that you got to lead with conviction. Look, you set the standard. If you say something with confidence, then people will believe you. If you don't say something with confidence, then people won't believe you. If you say stuff with doubt, then people will doubt you. How much? It's $500. Well, they'd be like, oh, no, it's not worth it. How much is it? It's $500. No, it's $500. Well, yeah, it's $500. Your tone sells before your product ever does. You gotta act like you belong. This is a test of courage that I used to put friends through and girls that I would hang out with when I was younger. Not now. I've obviously graduated past this stage in my life, but I used to sneak into the movies. And this one movie theater that I would go to, I would never pay. I would just always walk in, and I would never tell the person who I'm with that I was just gonna walk in. I wanted to see if they knew how to act like they belonged. So I could take a girl to the movies, and then I could just walk right past, and then I just act like I belong. That's why nobody ever said anything to me, because it looked like I was supposed to just be walking into the movies. Then if a girl be like, oh my God, what are you doing? What are you? I'm like, oh nah, she ain't cool under pressure. But the ones that just walk with me, I'm like, oh, I might got something here. Very, very, very immature thinking, but I was a very, very, very immature person, and my age reflected it because it was a long time ago. But still, kind of the same thing here, because I've just found in life in general, when you act like you belong somewhere, nobody says anything to you because you look like you belong there. It looks like you're supposed to be doing the thing that you're doing right now. I've been to so many places with friends and acquaintances and whatnot, and I've supposedly broke the rules, and they say, oh no, you can't do that. And I said, well, if you act like this is what we're supposed to do, I bet you don't nobody say nothing. And pretty much every time, nobody ever says nothing, because you look like you're supposed to be doing the thing that you're doing right now. You set the tone with anything that you do. People believe what it is that you present. So, and I don't want you to think that you have to do something like crazy high ticket. Like, I know that I titled this video, how I turned one $50 digital product into 5,000 without changing the product, or whatever it is that I titled this video. That is true. And I titled it like that because I know that it'll grab your attention and I'll get some clicks and some people to watch it, right? But I'm not saying that you have to go to that huge extreme from like $50 all the way up to like 5K. And even me myself, not that I'm against the high ticket space, because like I said, I've done high ticket sales, I've made money in high ticket, but I'm not the biggest fan of high ticket, because typically to sell something $5,000, $10,000 and up, even over $1,000, $1,500, $2,000, $3,000, all that type of stuff, right? High ticket. Typically, it's more than just getting a click to purchase, right? Usually, if you're selling something high ticket, there's another added level of friction. So usually, you're probably either gonna have to do some type of sales call or something like that. And I don't like sales calls. And that's one of the reasons why I don't really do much high ticket. But if I ever did want to do high ticket, I found a way better way to do it, because I'm like, okay, well, if I build a community and I'm actually serving the community and they're getting great value, they're getting results and whatnot. If I did want to have something high ticket, who better would buy that than somebody that's already in my community? And since they literally talk to me on a day by day and week by week basis, then I know that I wouldn't have to have a sales call anyways. Like, that would be a pretty much frictionless sale. So I just wanted to explain it, because I know there's going to be some people thinking that because I'm talking about how I turned one $50 product into a $5,000 product, that you think that you have to increase your prices that much, and then think that since you increase your prices that much and then you make a video, that somebody's just gonna click and buy something for that much. No, there's a process to it, and typically you have to add more friction, because people aren't just buying stuff like that off the internet each and every single day. And then typically, like I said, you're gonna have to have some type of sales call. Then there's a process to get to this sales call, and it's just a long window of stuff that I don't enjoy doing. And I'm so glad that I found something that I actually enjoy doing on a daily basis. Like, I literally wake up every single morning like it's Christmas morning. Like, I'm that excited to start my days every day. But I don't want you to think that you have to have such a big increase like this. But I see so many people that are trying to sell something for like $17. And then I tell them, I'm like, yo, why don't you sell that same thing for $17? Why don't you sell it for $170? And they're like, whoa, I don't think that I can sell something for $170. Well, the same exact process that I talked about, that I took from upping the price of something from $50 to $5,000, that's the same thing that I would do to up the price of something from $17 to $170. That's the same thing that I would do to up the price of something that's $25 to $50. The $50 to $500. Like, it's all the same. And typically the price points that a lot of people are stuck in their brain about, like, to the consumer, it doesn't seem like that much more money. If somebody is willing to pay $85 for something, they would most likely pay $150 for the same thing. If somebody is willing to pay $50 for something, they will most likely pay $100 for the same thing. And yeah, typically how it works, when you do up your prices, typically the number of sales goes down. But personally, I've never experienced anything to where as I raised the prices and my income didn't increase as well. Yeah, some of my sales may decrease, but I'm selling fewer of something at a higher price. Therefore, when you do the math, you end up making more money a lot of times at the end of the day. And then I get it, because so many people feel like that they're helping people and they want to have stuff that's so cheap that everybody can afford it. But most people don't take action anyways. Like, it's a numbers game. So since you're going to convert a smaller percentage of your audience, and then you're already being consistent with your content because you're a contentpreneur, you're using content to drive traffic to your business, you're using content to drive traffic to your offers, and you're already doing all that for free. And then your offer, you want to have that be very close to your free content anyways in price. When are you gonna make some money? And you can still serve people that can't afford your offer through your content. I know people that can't take my offer right now. I know that I'm still serving them on a consistent basis through my YouTube channel. I know that because people tell me about the results that they get from my YouTube channel, literally on a weekly basis, just from the free content. I literally just got a comment yesterday talking about how this dude just made a couple $100 from my free content. He just made some products, launched them, made a couple $100. He has a goal of making $5,000 a month. I'll throw up the comment right here. Like I say, I have proof. Everything that I say, I have proof of it. And congrats to you, my man. Keep going up. You made my day when I seen that yesterday. But you can still serve people for free through your content. And I need you to get this into your mind, because there's so many people that want to post all this free content, then give out all these freebies and free lead magnets and whatnot. They were free. But when it comes time to sell something, they're worried about
The price, oh, okay, that sounds a little too high. That's $10. Yeah, $10. That's what I sell. $20. That's what I sell it for. $20. Even though I'm putting in all this consistent effort. $20.
Like, you gotta stop pocket watching, and you gotta stop worrying about what other people have. People that can afford whatever it is that you have to offer can't afford it. The people that can't, you can still serve them. Whoever sold me this coconut wasn't worried about if I had the money to afford it. They're selling this to the people that have the money to afford it. People that don't probably just go and buy some pop or something like that. But whoever plucked this coconut off the tree and then peeled the coconut and then put this little arrow on it right here. I don't know if you can see the arrow, but they put the little arrow on it so I know where to stick the bamboo straw into so I can drink it. They didn't create this thinking,
I wonder how much money Aston got if he can buy these 3 coconuts, because they come in a box of 3. And I always get like at least 3 of them at a time. 3 times 3 is 9 coconuts. But they're like, oh, I wonder if Aston has the money to buy these 9 little itty bitty miniature coconuts that fit in the palm of his hands to get a few swags of coconut water. Let's price these coconuts off of how much money we think he has.
No, they make it for the people that have the money to buy it. And if you want to be a successful entrepreneur and you truly want to grow an online business, stop thinking about selling stuff to people that don't have money. That's a bad business decision. Stop undervaluing what you already have. Look, if you know that you can isolate a problem in the marketplace and come up with a solution for that, and then offer that solution in a vehicle of a digital product, people that are willing to pay for that transformation, people that are truly committed, people that actually want some change, they will take it, and they will happily pay you, just like people have happily paid all them that you see on the screen right now. And if you're ready to make more working less online from stuff that you already know, go ahead and click the link down in the description and join this Credit at the Top community. For personal coaching from myself, all my exclusive trainings, plus a private community of entrepreneurs, all designed to grow your business online. It's only a few bucks a day to join right now. That's literally less than a cup of coffee per day. So go ahead and click the link down in the description and tap in, and I'll see you on a coaching call this Wednesday. I'm telling you, I just know that so many people are having this internal battle within over pricing. And if you want to not only make some money, because yeah, you can make a little bit of money here and there or whatever, but I'm talking about longevity. I'm talking about having a career. I'm talking about not jumping from side hustle to side hustle to side hustle every 3 to 6 months or every year trying something new. I'm talking about doing something and building a business around something that you actually enjoy doing each and every single day, and helping people that you actually enjoy helping every single day. You gotta stop racing to the bottom, because if that is your business plan, just thinking of how cheap you can make something, I don't know any other way but to keep it a buck with you. You probably ain't gonna win out here. If you're in a race to the bottom, you can't be the best. And the best can't be the cheapest, and the cheapest can't be the best. So go ahead and click the link down in the description if you want to tap into the community, and I'll see you on our coaching call this Wednesday. Go ahead and check out this video right here for 3 tiny digital products that are guaranteed to sell. It's Credit at the Top.